World has its eyes on Bali, with US President Joe Biden meeting with China's Xi Jinping. Let's go across to Bali now. Now we see this high-stakes sit-down will begin momentarily. Tensions brew between the two global powers. Both the leaders present at the G20 Summit being held in Bali this year. Now, we know in the latest that China has said that it hoped to bring relations back on track with the US. And this after on Sunday, when Biden told the Asian leaders in Cambodia that the US's communications lines with China would stay open in order to prevent conflict. This, of course, the first face-to-face meeting between Xi Jinping and US President Joe Biden since he assumed office. Tough talks almost certain in the days ahead. We know the White House has said that both leaders will be assessing how to responsibly manage competition and work together where their interests align. Now, this includes from the chip market to the Taiwan crisis. Both the US and China have seen divisions deepen in the last 1 year. Xi's government on multiple occasions has criticized the Biden administration's posture towards the self-ruled Taiwan, which Beijing considers its own, as it views the US recent action in the region as undermining China's sovereignty and territorial integrity. Now, this is as the two leaders are meeting in person for the first time since Biden took office. We are expecting a range of issues to be discussed during this meeting. Of course, the main focus on Taiwan, also Russia's invasion of Ukraine, as well as North Korea's nuclear ambitions. Now, Biden and Xi have held 5 calls since Biden became the president in January of 2021. The last time they met was during the Obama presidency, where Biden was the vice president. Now, Washington says that a joint statement is unlikely to be issued after this meeting, but adds that it could help to stabilize the ties between the two nations. We have US President Joe Biden as well as Chinese President Xi Jinping meeting face-to-face for the first time since Biden assumed the presidency, on the sidelines of the G20 Summit being held this year in Bali. Now, this is a high-stakes sit-down as tensions brew between the two global powers. Both leaders in Bali for the G20 Summit. Now, China has said in the lead up to this meeting that it hoped to bring relations with the US back on track at the summit. This after on Sunday, where Biden told Asian leaders in Cambodia that the US's communication lines with China would stay open, and this would be in order to prevent conflict, with tough talks almost certain in the days ahead. Items to be discussed during this meeting. We are expecting they will be discussing how to assess, to responsibly manage competition and to work together where the common interests align, from the chip market to the Taiwan crisis. Both the US and China have seen divisions deepen in the last 1 year. Now, Xi's government on multiple occasions has criticized the Biden administration's posture towards self-ruled Taiwan, which Beijing considers its own and views the US's recent action in the region as undermining China's sovereignty and territorial integrity.
As leaders of our two nations, we share showed that China and the United States can manage their differences, prevent competition from becoming any deeper intermediate conflict, and to find ways to work together on urgent global issues that require our mutual cooperation. And I believe this is critical for the sake of our two countries and the international community. This is the key to the international community. This was a key to the theme of the COP27 meeting, where I spoke on Friday, and we'll be discussing a lot of these challenges together, I hope, in the next couple hours. And the world expects, I believe, China and the United States to play key roles in addressing global challenges, from climate changes to food insecurity, and for us to be able to work together. The United States stands ready to do just that, work with you if that's what you desire. So President Xi, I look forward to our continuing and ongoing open and honest dialogue we've always had, and I thank you for the opportunity.
Mr. President, it's good to see you. The last time we met was in 2017 during the World Economic Forum in Davos. That was already more than 5 years ago. Well, since you assumed the presidency, we have maintained communication via video conferences, phone calls, and letters. But none of them can really substitute for face-to-face exchanges. And today, we finally have this face-to-face meeting. From the initial contact and the establishment of diplomatic relations to today, China and the United States have gone through 50-plus eventful years. We've gained experience, and we've also learned lessons. History is the best textbook. So we should take history as a mirror and let it guide the future. Currently, the China-US relationship is in such a situation that we all care a lot about it, because this is not the fundamental interest of our two countries and peoples, and it is not what the international community expects us. As leaders of the two major countries, we need to chart the right course for the China-US relationship. We need to find the right direction for the bilateral relationship going forward and elevate the relationship. A statesman should think about and know where to lead his country. He should also think about and know how to get along with other countries and the wider world. Well, in this time and age, great changes are unfolding in ways like never before. Humanity are confronted with unprecedented challenges. The world has come to a crossroads. Where to go from here? This is a question that is not only on our mind, but also on the mind of all countries. The world expects that China and the United States will properly handle the relationship. And for our meeting, it has attracted the world's attention. So we need to work with all countries to bring more hope to world peace, greater confidence in global stability, and stronger impetus to common development. In our meeting today, I'm ready to have a candid, as we always did, have a candid and in-depth exchange of views with you on issues of strategic importance in China-US relations and on major global and regional issues. I look forward to working with you, Mr. President, to bring China-US relations back to the track of healthy and stable growth to the benefit of our two countries and the world as a whole. Thank you.
And we were just listening to the two leaders, US President Joe Biden and Chinese President Xi Jinping, speaking at the beginning of their bilateral meet on the sidelines of the G20 in Bali. Biden speaking on working together on common challenges, including food security and climate change. And we heard President Xi Jinping speaking on the importance of this very important face-to-face meeting and charting the right course for the relationship between these two great nations.
Economic Forum in Davos. That was already more than 5 years ago. Well, since you assumed the presidency, we have maintained communication via video conferences, phone calls, and letters.
Coming to you live from Bali on the sidelines of the G20 meet, where US President Joe Biden is meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping in a high-stakes sit-down as the tensions brew between the two global powers. Now, both the leaders addressing the summit, which has, of course, been held in Bali. This has been overshadowed by the key meet since its announcement. In the latest, China has said that it hopes to bring the relations back on track with the US at this summit. This after on Sunday, when Biden told the Asian leaders in Cambodia that the US's communication lines with China must stay open in order to prevent conflict. And we are expecting some tough talks ahead. Now, the White House has said that both leaders will be assessing how to responsibly manage competition and work together where their interests align. Now, some of these will be with the chip market to the Taiwan crisis. Both the US and China have seen divisions deepen over the last 1 year. Xi's government on multiple occasions has criticized the Biden administration's posture towards the self-ruled Taiwan. And now for more on this, we are being joined by our principal diplomatic correspondent, Sudan Sybil, who is in Bali to get us all the latest. Sudan, what do we make of this initial meeting on the sidelines of the G20?
Well, the moment has arrived, a moment which everyone was waiting for. The US President Joe Biden and the Chinese President Xi Jinping sitting together, the first handshake, and this is, of course, the first meeting between the two leaders. But nonetheless, the Chinese President talked about his previous meetings. The US President talked about how both countries can work on issues. Of course, climate change is one issue that both sides see convergences on. But the fact that this meeting is happening and happening here in Bali will be seen as a big breakthrough. A lot of anticipation when it comes to this meeting. Of course, the outcomes will decide when it comes to the expectations, given that there is not much of expectation in terms of deliverables, given that this meeting is coming in the backdrop of the crisis, many crises, whether it's the Taiwan Strait crisis or, of course, how situation has been deteriorating between the two countries on the trading side, on the trading front.
Right, so Dante, we saw the two leaders meeting and both expressing the importance of working together on the common challenges facing the global situation at the moment. But of course, we are expecting some tough talk in this meeting, as you have touched on, some of the tensions that have been brewing between the two global powers?
Well, of course, we know that the meeting has just started, and of course, we saw the opening comments made by both sides. In fact, when it comes to the White House, there have been a focus on more conciliatory comments. We also know U.S. President Joe Biden talking about the red lines. He has been talking about that U.S. does not want conflict with China, and how the relationship between these two countries, China and the United States, is managed by the leaders is something that impacts the global world order as well, and that is why this meeting, which is still underway, it matters a lot. And we do expect as the day progresses here in Bali, a press conference as well by the US President Joe Biden, which will happen around 9:30 p.m. local time, and that of course will give more details as to what transpired, and was there a discussion on the conflict in Europe, the Russia-Ukraine conflict, and of course the Taiwan Strait crisis.
Absolutely, Siddhant. Thank you very much for bringing us the latest, all the details coming out of Bali.
WION, now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.